My son went missing, now I know why. It was a sunny afternoon when my son, Ethan, disappeared. I remember it vividly. He had asked if he could go play in the woods behind our house. At first, I hesitated, the dense trees looming ominously in the distance. But I trusted him. He was a good boy, responsible and adventurous. I told him to be back in an hour, and off he went, his laughter echoing in the air. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, I grew uneasy. An hour turned into 2, and still no sign of him. Panic set in, and I rushed outside, calling his name, my voice cracking with fear. The woods stood silent, watching me as I stumbled through the underbrush, heart pounding. As night fell, I dialed the police, and they arrived quickly, mobilizing search teams and volunteers. But as hours turned into days, hope began to wane. The search dragged on for a week, but there was still no trace of my son. I had never felt such despair. Then one evening, as I sat on our porch, lost in thought, I noticed a flickering light deep in the woods. My heart raced. Could it be Ethan? I grabbed a flashlight and ventured into the darkness, calling his name. The deeper I went, the more the trees closed in around me. The light grew brighter, illuminating a small clearing. In the center stood an ancient, gnarled tree, its trunk twisted and large roots snaking out like fingers. At its base, I noticed a small, wooden door, half hidden by underbrush. Cautiously, I approached, my heart pounding in my chest. The door creaked open as I touched it, revealing a dark tunnel leading deep underground. A sense of dread washed over me, but the flickering light beckoned me forward. "Ethan." I called out, my voice trembling. I stepped inside, the air damp and musty. The tunnel seemed to stretch endlessly, illuminated by a soft, otherworldly glow that pulsated from deeper within. As I moved further in, I heard whispers echoing around me. They were soft at first but grew louder, morphing into a chorus of laughter, Ethan's laughter. My heart ached, he was here. Finally, I reached a large chamber filled with strange artifacts and odd symbols etched into the walls. In the center, I found Ethan, sitting on the floor, playing with a group of children who looked oddly pale and ethereal. They all turned to look at me, their eyes vacant yet filled with a knowing sadness. "Mom!" Ethan exclaimed, rushing toward me with open arms. But before I could embrace him, a shadow moved behind him. A figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, with hollow eyes and a sinister grin. The whispers grew louder, and the air turned cold. "You should not have come here," the figure hissed, its voice echoing like a distant thunder. "He belongs to us now." Panic surged through me. "No. He's my son." I screamed, lunging forward to grab Ethan. But the other children reached out, their fingers brushing against me, sending chills down my spine. "Join us," they whispered in unison, their voices intertwining like a twisted lullaby. The figure stepped closer, its presence suffocating. "Your son is safe with us. Here, he will never be alone again," it cooed. The sinister energy around me made it hard to breathe. I realized then that this place wasn't just a hidden chamber, it was a trap, a realm where lost souls were kept, lured by promises of companionship. With a surge of strength, I grabbed Ethan's hand, pulling him toward the exit. "We need to leave, now," I shouted, fear propelling me forward. The darkness screamed in protest, trying to pull us back. But I wouldn't let go. We burst through the tunnel and stumbled into the woods, the whispers fading behind us. Once we were back outside, the night air filled my lungs, and I collapsed to my knees, holding Ethan tightly. He was alive, but the shadows of the woods lingered, watching us from the edge of the trees. Though he returned home, I knew the truth. The forest held dark secrets, and there were things that roamed beyond the veil of reality. As weeks turned into months, I noticed subtle changes in Ethan. He seemed quieter, as if the laughter he once had was replaced by an eerie calmness. Then one night, as I tucked him into bed, I caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye, a shadow lingering just beyond his window. "Mom," he said softly, "can I go back to the woods tomorrow?" A chill ran down my spine. I knew that I had to protect him, but deep down, I understood the terrible pull of the dark realm he had encountered. "No, Ethan," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "You can never go back." But the woods whispered to him, and the shadows beckoned. And as the nights grew darker, I feared I had only delayed the inevitable. My son had returned, but the haunting of the woods would forever remain.